Hey, what's up everybody? It's DJ Fanatic Beats, content contributor for LiveOffBeats.com. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at DJ Fanatic, or you can follow me on Instagram at DJ Fanatic Beats. Fanatic is spelled P-H-A-N-A-T-I-C because I just got to be creative. And speaking of creative, this new video actually is covering frequencies into melodies. Basically balancing your melodies. It's kind of like intermediate to advanced. You can get very complex with it, but this is basically to really help your beats sound more professional and not have so many clashing frequencies. And it also just makes your beat sound much better when it's mixed. It sounds more polished. It takes you from one level, of production. Like years ago when I started, I knew about frequencies, but I didn't know how important they are when it comes to music. And also not only music, also when you start recording vocals too, because the voice is an instrument and every voice is unique and every voice has its own frequency range as well and its nuances or whatever. It can get really deep, and I don't want to get too advanced in this video about that. But basically this is a melody that I created right before I hit record. Just something I threw together, and I wanted to show you an example. It's a little 8-bar loop, 3 different sounds. The first one's like plucks, the second one is more like a pad, and the third one, I forgot what it is, just something short, I believe, like plucks as well, like a dirty keyboard, like a dirty piano. So let me show you, just hit play and let you hear what's going on. You might think it's dope. I just kind of threw it together. See, I don't know what type of beat that would be, but I just kind of hear melodies all the time in my head. So I just kind of put those melodies together. It started with this. That can actually go a whole nother direction by itself. So let me get into what I mean about frequencies, and let me make sure these are routed. There's a quick way of routing. 1, 2, 3. They're all on these different tracks. So the first sound. Basically, I want you to see the frequencies, frequency range. Usually, you can just solo it. I just want to show you. If you don't know where it's at, you can always hit this drop down. You don't have to do replace, but yeah, replace and go to Fruity Parametric Eq2. This is installed pretty much in every version of FL Studio, and it's a very powerful plugin that comes free with the program. So I use it I use it in every beat. What I really love about Fruity Parametric EQ2, you can they call it vector file, where you can make it large now. You can really zoom in and pinpoint any frequency you want. And what I really love about it, this is called the frequency range. As you can see at the bottom, 20 Hertz all the way up to 10K. 10 the K is for 1,000 racks. 10K, actually some people can hear above 10K, and I know dogs can hear above 20K and above. So this is pretty much the standard frequency range of human hearing. So basically every sound falls within this frequency range. Some sounds, like even way out in space or under the ocean, can go way below like 2 Hertz or something, just something really low or something extremely high where we can't even hear it. But let me not get on a tangent. So as I play the sound, watch the pink energy. The pink energy is the energy of the sound. Now notice that sound actually covers a lot of frequency spectrum. So what I mean by balancing your melodies, you have to kind of consider the other sounds. All the other sounds fit in the same space. And basically you don't want your sounds clashing in the same frequency range. It happens. Sometimes you have to give or take and find out what you want and where you want it. So for instance, this sound, you notice it starts the lower end is around 100 hertz. And you're finding the stronger frequencies, the more pink it is. I just love this design of an EQ. This is a parametric EQ. And you notice it kind of dies off a little on the high end. So what I would do with this sound, I usually drop, you can move these little nodes anywhere you want to control the frequency. And this little band, you can change that little dot to here to make it a little sharper. I usually immediately cut 100 because with my beats, I mean sure with your beats as well, you have a lot of lower end. You have the 808, you have the kick, sometimes some snares go down there, probably not that low. But sometimes you just want to leave some space for different low end things. And this type of sound, I like the energy in it, but I would take out at least 100. I would just cut it off sharp there, and then I would look at the rest of it. See, hear how clean it sounds now? So then, hopefully you have some good headphones. I can't stress that enough. Make sure you have some nice headphones when you're a producer, or some good studio monitors. You know, that way you can hear the difference. And over time, you know, not everyone's ear is trained to hear frequencies. The more you work with this, the more advanced you become and the more skilled you become working with frequencies. And you'll be able to mix your beats really fast. You'll be able to hear certain frequencies without even looking at this. I actually can do that with some sounds. I'm also a DJ, so, you know, protect your hearing, you know, especially with loud volumes, so whatever. But yeah, once you block that down a little bit, I mean, cut the frequencies at 100 hertz. I would bend this down a little bit, like a softer, because you can tell there's not much energy there, so you don't really need it. Now you can hear the difference of that sound in that space by itself. Now, I used to make the mistake of EQ is made to boost stuff. Now, EQ, you can boost things, but it's not always just for blasting out. They actually sound kind of cool. I took the mid-range and raised it, and it added some type of distortion. If that's the type of sound you're looking for, go for it. But it's not always, especially with drums, it's not always made to just boost random stuff and make it, you know, just totally distorted. Sometimes you have to kind of be careful with it and experiment. But EQ definitely can be used to reduce, as you can see, and it makes your stuff sound so much more professional. And what I was going to mention, you can also see up here, they have like these little squares up here, these little grids. They break it down. Like if you notice as I hover, you can see the frequencies changing up here in the left hint panel. So this is the sub range up to about 80 or 100, yeah, up to 80, and the bass sits around here. The low mids, high mid. What does that stand for again? I think it's pre. Anyway, right before the treble, pre. I forgot what the PRS stands for. And then you have your high-end treble, and then they also have the octaves, because the note, if you all play the same note on the same instrument, you can kind of see where it fits in the frequency range. So that's, I don't want to go on a tangent and get beyond what I'm trying to teach you here, but basically this sound, it has been pretty much EQ'd. I may boost like a strong frequency, but I'm gonna leave it right there for now. So then we go to our next sound. So what you want to do, you can kind of compare sounds. For instance, we'll do this. think I can do this. I did it before. There we go. So now I have both EQ2s open, and I recommend EQing every sound because sometimes you run across something that just sounds perfect and you don't want to touch it, but you want to be in mind that there's one frequency range and there's tons of sounds, and you can have a beat with 10 different sounds. This is only 3. I don't recommend having too many melodies because you want to leave space for the artist. It depends on the project you're working on. But let's compare these two sounds. That way you can see the first sound and the second sound, where they fall in the frequencies. So now notice the second sound, actually the low end falls out before, like around this range, around 150 hertz, and I can actually cut that. See, this is a strong frequency at 167, so I can cut that. Usually what I like to do first is, see, I'm telling you some good stuff now. Usually I like to cut first because I want to save space for that 808, for that kick drum, for the lower end stuff. For sometimes you have orchestra hits or some type of hit that has low frequencies, and you want that power, that energy in your beat to hit the listener. So I'll cut that probably right around here, right before that strong frequency. And this sound, the second sound, actually, we'll close the first one. Now you can see the relationship between the two sounds. There's a lot of overlap, but this second sound actually is a lot of movement. It's a very unique sound that I found in my arsenal. But you notice how the frequency moves. It has a lot of movement, and there's a lot of crispiness right here. You hear like some scratching, and almost like when you hear like vinyl pops and cracks. So I want to keep that. I actually like that. So for the second sound, I'll probably just cut some of the lows. Cut the lows. So that's balancing two different sounds frequency-wise. So we'll close that and listen to the third sound. I forgot what it was. And I didn't add a parametric, so you hit this down arrow, and usually it's under filters. That's the default for FL Studio. And you do the same thing. We'll usually start cutting at 100. Some sounds you don't have to do that. And notice where all the energy is and where it isn't. And sometimes you want to do a softer curve, because I noticed when I did that, some of that reverb that's built into it was cut off. And for this, I could boost this frequency and make it a little more narrow. And maybe this one too, make it a little more narrow. And raise up the lower frequency. Move it up the spectrum and cut off more low end. So now I pretty much balanced these three frequencies in a mix, and this is really good for it's almost basically mixing the beat, but there's something else I wanted to show you with the first melody. of what you can do as well to avoid clashing frequencies. So let's play it all together, and let me go to the beginning, let you hear how it sounds. Usually you like looking at the playlist, so we'll do that. Actually, better yet, I'm going to get fancy on you guys and just open up all the EQs so you see the difference visually. Let's close that. We got them all going on here. This is the third one. Insert 3, see that? This is the first one. Let's give some space here, if I can. For some reason that doesn't want to move, so we'll make things happen. Here's the second one. See, if I was on my bigger monitors, I'll be able to show you all of these easier. So now you got the first sound, second sound, third sound. All of them have different EQing settings. I'll show you them all together. So let's say I want to get rid of that crackling on the second sound. That sounds better, actually. And let's say I want a little more low end on the first sound. So that's with EQing, balancing all the sounds together. I could go more in depth, but I just want to give you an idea. So let's turn off all the plugins and let you hear before and after. And this is with EQ. As you can hear, the second one sounds a lot more cleaner. It's less low end, but you definitely want to leave space for your energy of your lower frequency sounds, as I mentioned earlier. And sometimes to the untrained ear, you would never even hear the difference of that. So anyway, the other thing I was going to show you when balancing frequencies within your within your different sounds. My bad, I got a brain freeze for a second. Basically, you can, when you have multiple melodies, right? Notice these fall in between G3, G4. That kind of gives you an idea where it falls in on the piano roll. So the second sound, where do those notes fall in? It's a little below G5. So it's a little before G3, G5. And I did that on purpose, probably on accident, because what I'm getting at is, let's say this was an octave lower. Now what it's going to do, when it's lower, it's going to clash more with those other lower sounds in the first sound. You hear that? So what I'm getting at, even where you place the notes. See, the second sound actually has lower frequency now, and there's a lot more power in the mid to low frequency range. So let's look at the EQ in track 1. See, all that power is right in the mid. So now the sound of second sound is clashing more frequency-wise with the first sound. So basically, the notes that you choose as well determines where your energy goes in the frequency range. So you have to consider that. You don't want your notes all to be in the same frequency range, and you have to kind of consider that as well when you're mixing. So when you're producing. So when I did these notes, I did them higher than where this was naturally. These, I knew the sound was kind of thin, so It doesn't have much low end, but I did it right above G5, G sharp 5. So let me just show you one sound real quick, so this video ain't too long, but hopefully you're learning something and I'm helping you out with this, because this definitely is going to help you make better music in the long run. So let's just solo this sound. Solo. And what you can do in this sound, let's say you had another octave, right? I'll just highlight, shift, hold shift down, left click, and duplicate, control down, do another octave. And let's look at the EQ to see where it's falling. Now watch this. I'm just going to take everything and just raise it up 2 octaves and see what happens. Now let's take a look at EQ and just see what happens when I do that. Now you see what happened? All this energy that was down here in the lower end is moving up in the frequency range. This is very powerful stuff, because once you learn to master this, and your ear becomes so advanced that you can hear where certain sounds go, this can be very powerful. That separates you from beginning producer or middle producer to advanced the more you start doing it. I'm going to raise it up another 2 octaves. It may not sound good, but I just want to show you for demonstration purposes too. Alright, check this out. Now look, right around 629 hertz on down, all the energy is gone. So I can actually move this up here, and we got more energy in the treble, so I can move that up. And that totally changes the energy that was overlapping with the other 2. So check this out. And let's say now I want to lower the second sound down 1 octave. And I'll lower some of the high end, since most of our high energy in the first sound is up there. Now you can see the power of this. I didn't want to make this video too long, but you can see the power of shifting notes, melodies up an octave or down an octave, and balancing the frequency range with just changing the notes alone, without having to cut out lows or cut out highs or boost mids or whatever. You can use this method, and definitely I recommend using EQ2 on every sound you use, and pay attention to how that sound sounds by itself, and then second, figure out how they relate to your other sounds. That's when you're building your melodies. You don't want your melodies to clash with frequencies. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes, you want that sound, and it sounds good to you. If it sounds good to you, go for it. It doesn't. There's no do it this way or do it that way. You can kind of experiment. But speaking of experiment, the more you work on changing these sounds, like octave wise, and the more you explore with frequencies of different sounds, this little plugin that comes free with it is extremely powerful, and it's probably one of my favorite plugins in FL Studio, because you can do so much with it. And you can just throw in samples, you can throw in synths, pads, drums, whatever, and just look at where it falls on this frequency range. And then you can kind of paint paint your picture based on what you want the listener to feel or what you feel, because that's all it is. It's an exchange of your vision, you know, to an artist or to an audience. So anyway, I don't want to get too deep. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something. Again, you can follow me on Twitter if you like at DJ Fanatic, or Instagram at DJ Fanatic Beats. Content contributor for LiveOffBeats.com. And it's been your boy DJ Fanatic, and I appreciate it. Y'all keep making great music. Feel free to explore with what I showed you, and just, you know, elevate your music to greater heights, man. Keep making great stuff. And yeah, signing out. Blessings. Peace.